Whoa. It hurts me so much what happened. Yi Chong struggled to poke his head out from under the ruins of a damaged building. His body was scratched in many places, and his clothes were in tatters and covered with dust. Fortunately, he only suffered minor injuries and skin injuries. It took him a long time to dig a passage out of the rubble and save an injured brother. Yi Chong has fair skin, delicate appearance, 18 centimeters tall, and a strong body. The big brother Yi Chong rescued was named Lu Yi. He had long hair and a square face and was 180 centimeters tall. The two of them had just come out of the ruins. They picked up a bottle of mineral water next to them and drank it. Looking at the chaotic and dilapidated scene in front of them, both of them were a little overwhelmed and had many thoughts in their minds. Are these all natural disasters? How are we going to deal with this? What now? Where is this? Where are we now? After such a huge disaster, why haven't the authorities sent a rescue team to rescue us? There are no rescuers, no ambulances, no medical personnel. Cell phones don't work. What is going on? There were many people around Yi Chong and Lu Yi. None of these people knew what was going on. Prelude. Just. The world has experienced a catastrophe. If a rogue planet hits the Earth, it is not considered an impact. It just passes by the Earth. That planet crossed the sea from one country, passed through 3 countries, and then passed through a huge country. Finally, it was far away from the Earth and touched the Earth for a total length of several thousand kilometers. The superstar caused huge disasters to these countries. Thousands of houses were destroyed, and hundreds of millions of people disappeared. Scene description. The bright sunshine shines on the ground. There was a soggy, big mud patch area on the ground. At first glance, it was a mess, with countless vehicles swaying here and there, some severely deformed, some broken into pieces, and some with half of their bodies stuck vertically in the dirt. The big mud stall is also covered with dense potholes, large and small, which were smashed out by buildings and people falling from the sky. Not far away, a man used a lot of force to kick open the front door of a car from the inside out and slowly crawled out of the deformed car. The man was seriously injured, and his white shirt was stained with blood. He was waving to someone, and his voice was hoarse, as if he was shouting, "Help me." Far away, a strong man's body was pressed down by heavy building ruins, and he could not move. Blood flowed far down his arm. Near the strong man, several people were buried in the rubble of the building. Their feet were exposed on the surface, and they were motionless. It was not known whether they still had vital signs. The whole big mud stall. Bricks, scrap metal, food, drink, and used items. The messy debris was scattered all over the mud stall, and many of them were deeply sunk into the soil. Remote places. It hurts. Come on, help me. I'm about to die. A girl's legs were pinned by a building, sobbing and calling for help. Throughout the mud stall, cries for help could be heard from everywhere. Everyone who can be seen here has been injured to varying degrees, and they are lucky to be alive. Why is there such a tragic situation? More than 10 minutes ago, that is around 1 p.m., I remember that the clear sky suddenly darkened, and at the same time it started to rain lightly. At first, people thought it was a solar eclipse caused by the moon blocking the sun. But then, the rain stopped, but fierce winds arose, which blew some people against the wall and made them unable to move. Even cars running on the road were overturned, causing great damage to people and property. Originally thinking that this was just a natural disaster like a typhoon, people hid in buildings one after another. Unexpectedly, at this time, everyone felt like they were short of oxygen and couldn't breathe. Then the typhoon disappeared. However, the ground, including all the buildings on the ground, began to shake violently. Many cracks appeared on the surface of the buildings. The cracks became bigger and bigger and began to collapse towards the ground bit by bit, or collapse in place. Everyone thought it was an earthquake, so people all ran out of the building. After some time, a surprising scene appeared. People and objects on the ground, even cars and houses weighing several tons. They all began to float slowly, and it felt like they were in space, completely losing gravity. Almost everyone was panicking at this moment, and many people thought that the end of the world was coming. Unexpectedly, this series of changes only lasted 10 minutes. Then the sun came out. Everyone was shocked at first glance. The originally good city had completely changed. The high-rise buildings before have turned into ruins. The strange thing is that all the roads have disappeared, and there are almost no intact buildings around. It seems that everyone has arrived in a city that was devastated after being bombed. Many people began to look around, and their originally frightened expressions gradually calmed down after the disaster. Some people wonder if they were blown to some small mountain village by the wind. Some people also suspected that they were not dreaming, and various thoughts began to appear in people's minds, but no one stood up to explain all this. Some people also took out their mobile phones and started making calls for help, but none of these calls went through and no one got through. At this time, some people find that their mobile phones have no signal at all, so people who have no signal on their mobile phones shout loudly at people nearby to see if others can make a call, or if other people's mobile phones have a signal. Almost no one could get through the emergency call, and no one had a mobile phone signal. No one came to the rescue, and there were no relief supplies. If this were the case, many seriously injured people would not be able to receive treatment, and they would pass away in pain and despair. Slowly, some of the survivors began to move around. Looking around, some people were rescuing others, and some were discussing something with other survivors. There are also many people walking towards the distance, as if they're exploring a new world. Scene. Another place. By the pond. There are many potholes here, as if they were just smashed out and filled with water. There are also many abandoned buildings here, leaning from east to west. There were completely deformed vehicles, and around the buildings, there were many people who were slightly or seriously injured, and there were even people with broken arms and legs or who were dead. The scene was very pessimistic. Everyone's face looked very ugly. In addition, there are bushes, woods, canyons, riversides, etc. There are also some people in places like rock piles and deserts, but very few people can survive in places like this. Some smart people seem to have realized something. There are no rescuers, the phone cannot be reached, there is no signal on the mobile phone, and this place is not like the previous place. Could it be that we have come to another world or another planet? But this place is too similar to the Earth. Before, the sky suddenly darkened. There must be something blocking the sun. Could it be that another planet hit Earth? No, it should be another planet that suddenly passed by our Earth, and then a series of natural disasters occurred. We were suspended in the air, brought to this planet, and then dropped from the sky. However, if other planets hit the Earth, astronomical experts have not issued any announcement, which is really hard to figure out. Such a big disaster has occurred, and everyone is a bit unable to react. Their mobile phones have no signal, and they still don't know what the specific situation is. It's really troublesome. Chapter 02. Initiating the Organization. Map. Wandering Planet. Eastern Continent. Western District. Cement Stall. After a while, the sun began to shine brightly in the sky. On the ground, there was chaos. People gradually began to have various ideas. They began to move around each other and began to help each other. Some people started to gather together, like forming a gang with a group of more than a dozen people on the left and dozens of people on the right. There was an elder brother standing on a big rock and shouting to everyone, "Everyone, come here. I have something to say." After watching more than a dozen people around him walking toward the man out of curiosity, Yi Chong pulled Lu Yi and surrounded him. "Hello, everyone. My name is Deng Gang. I used to be the engineering director of a project. Such a disaster happened today. I feel very sad. My family members don't know if they have all died now." Well, Deng Gang looked ugly on the stone. Then he took out his mobile phone, his hands trembling all the time. He opened the photo album and showed the photos of his wife and his children in front of everyone. "This is my wife Ma Jiejia and my child Deng Jia. I will keep looking for them these days. If you see them, please tell them that I am still alive. Please, thank you." Okay, if we see him, we will definitely tell him. Many people are looking for their family members. There are also some people who are starting to think about something. Important figure, Lu Fu, under a big tree surrounded by more than 20 young people. "Hello, brothers. My name is Lu Fu. It's like this. I suspect that we have come to another world. You must also be doubting it, right? If this is really the case, then there is no order in this world yet. If there is no order, it will be very chaotic. So, I want to establish an organization to maintain order." Lu Fu was a strong young man who looked energetic and smart. He called more than 20 young men and wanted to organize them. If you want to maintain order, you can't do it alone. You need a group of people. It's not just a group of people. It's a group of people who have goals and have the same goal. My goal is to build a strong organization, and what our organization has to do is manage and arrange everyone who comes to this new world. If you want to manage everyone, you need strong power. That is force. To use a metaphor, if you don't listen to me, I will beat you. But it is not easy to do this because everyone has their own ideas. People are very selfish and greedy, and they all want to have power. So we need to set some rules. Anyone who violates these rules will be punished, including the creator of the rules. The organization I want to establish is called DEA. You all join my organization. We are a group of people working together to do something. If we don't do it, someone will do it sooner or later, so if you want to do it as soon as possible. That's good. I, Li Ji, will follow you. Brother Fu, I, Lu Zhendong, will follow you. And I, Li Yong. I, Lu Kue, will do it with you too. Very well. Thank you for joining. With your joining, I believe that what I want to do, no, it is what we all want to do together. We can definitely do it. Lu Fu had a face full of energy. When he saw that these people were willing to follow him, he raised the corners of his mouth and smiled, showing his white teeth. Subsequently, Lu Fu shook hands with those people one by one, then took out a bottle of mineral water, unscrewed the cap effortlessly, took a sip, and then walked to a young man's side. "Brother, what's your name?" "Zhang Tao." "Good brother." Lu Fu politely stretched out his hand and shook Zhang Tao's hand, and then extended his hand equally politely to the tall man next to Zhang Tao. Brother, what about you? Deng Dakai. After shaking the hands of 4 people in a row, Lu Fu held his head high, clenched his fists, and raised them in the air, and his loud voice sounded again. Now that we have come to this new world, the first thing we have to do is how to survive. Everything in this world is very strange to us. Strangeness means that we may be in danger at any time. What are the main problems we face now? Food, water, and safety. The first thing we people have to do is collect food and put all the food and water in it. In terms of safety, which is the most important thing, look at those bluebirds flying high in the sky. It is obvious that this world is alive. We don't know if there will be any beasts, savages, or aliens here, so we need to prepare weapons to protect ourselves and those around us. In addition, we gathered everyone here and asked some young people to join us. We established rules to maintain order here. Most of the more than 20 people Lu Fu called felt that what he said was good, but there were 1 or 2 who went their own way and did not approve of him. He doesn't care about this. He knows that not everyone can be convinced. As long as he convinces some people to follow him, he will succeed. Lu Fu took out his cell phone, handed it to Li Ji next to him, and told him to write down the names of these people. Li Ji took Lu Fu's mobile phone and started registering their names one by one for these people. The name of our organization is DEA, which means win-win cooperation. One person's power is limited, and only cooperation can survive. I will arrange some tasks for everyone in a while, and then we will complete it together. For our goals from this moment on, we are a group. After a while, Li Ji returned the phone to Lu Fu. Lu Fu looked at the more than 20 names on it, raised the corners of his mouth, clenched his fists, and raised them in the air. He sighed, and began to assign tasks to everyone. We have 24 people. It's very good. Everyone is ready. I start assigning tasks. I hope everyone can complete them before dark. Li Ji, Lu Zhendong, Li Yong, Lu Kue, Zhang Tao, and Deng Dakai will work with me to maintain order. Okay, these people were very satisfied with this arrangement, and they nodded to Lu Fu and responded together. Li Xiaofeng, Li Xiaowei, take Zhang Bei, Su Jun, and the 2 beauties Deng Zilu and Li Xuelian together to gather the young people, 10 of each. What if they don't come over? Li Xiaowei asked this question. But forget it. Just come and try your best to persuade me. Shen Fei, Zhao Wen, you take the remaining 10 people to collect food. Bring the collected food here. A few of us will look after it. We will build a wooden house here to store the food tomorrow. Okay, no problem. Okay, let's start taking action. It's 18 o'clock now. We will gather here at 20 o'clock under this fig tree. Everything went so smoothly, and everyone accepted the fact that they were abducted by a planet. Now that we are in this strange place, we don't know what it will be like in the future. But as long as people believe that if they can unite, they can survive. Chapter 03, Small Team. Map. Cement stall. The entire mud flat stretches 25 kilometers from north to south. People fall from the sky. The chance of survival of people who fall into the mud flat is much greater than that of people who fall outside the mud flat. Looking at it from a high place, I found that there were still many survivors. Protagonist Yi Chong. At the northernmost end of the mud stall, a young man named Yang Wei also made friends with 6 or 7 young people. This group of people gathered around and drank some wine. Yongwei found a large amount of food and water, as well as snacks, alcohol, cigarettes, and the like in the ruins of the building. This used to be a supermarket, and they found a supermarket. Brother Yang, come and go. Okay, cheers. Brothers, I think we may have come to another world, another planet. Having said this, Yongwei opened a can of beer and drank it in one gulp, looking at the fat man next to him. We got together and took care of each other. We found this supermarket, and everything in this supermarket belongs to us. Brother Yang is right. This supermarket belongs to us. Yes, this supermarket will be enough for us to eat for a long time. What's most important now? Of course, it's food. There are so many people here, but the food shortage is very limited. Since food is limited, what if someone comes to ask for food? The yellow-haired young man next to the fat man was thinking about this problem. These foods were discovered by our brother Yang. Of course, they all belong to our brother Yang. We, our brother Yang, can do whatever he says. This is what a bald man next to Huang Mao thought. Well said. Come and have a toast, brother. Yongwei was very happy. You must know that with the food in this entire supermarket, people like him will not have to worry about eating and drinking. As for others, it doesn't matter to him. I don't think this is good. Someone didn't quite agree with Yongwei's approach, and this person was Yi Chong. Yi Chong and Lu Yi basically walked around the northernmost end of the mud stall throughout the afternoon. In the process, I got to know Yongwei and 4 other people: Yongwei, Fatty Jiang Wang, Baozheng Xiaohu, Su Ming, Li Fan, and others. Hey, what's wrong with this? Brother, the current situation is like this. Whoever picks up the food gets it, and there is nothing wrong with it. That's right, who stipulated that the food we picked up must be shared with others. If this is the case, will the food they picked up also be shared with us? Su Ming also expressed his thoughts. Brother Yi Chong, what Su Ming said seems to make sense. Lu Yi patted Yi Chong's shoulder. He also felt that these foods were discovered by us, and they belong to us. Yi Chong shook his head. Forget it. I can't deal with so many of you. Come and drink. Don't worry about them, right? Yongwei opened a can of beer and handed it to Yi Chong's side. The group was happy. These people only care about themselves. Is what they're doing really right? But in this extreme situation, everyone faces the test of survival, and food is very important. Yi Chong is not easy to judge. You gave the food to others, but what about yourself? One day you run out of food and ask others for it. Will they give it to you? In fact, the survivors in the entire big mud stall began to form small groups, and they all began to look for food everywhere, as if they all understood that it would be difficult for them to survive alone in a completely unfamiliar world. Of course, there are some people who are exceptions. Important person, Xia Liping, a young woman who had just walked out of the mud stall and came to the nearby gravel ground, carrying a backpack full of food, sat down alone in an open space, took out a black spring knife from her waist, and pierced a box of canned beef with the tip of the knife. The smell of meat wafted out. The tip of the knife pierced the beef, put it in her mouth, and enjoyed it carefully. The woman was facing the direction of the mud stall, enjoying the food and recording something in a small notebook. Tick-tock. The empty beef can was thrown away and hit the ground with a sound. As soon as the woman closed the notebook, the name on the cover of the notebook read Xia Liping. She put the notebook away, put the knife in her belt, and walked in the other direction without looking back. At the easternmost end of the mud stall, there is a gravel floor. The ground is full of broken stones, like pebbles. The woman walked on the gravel ground and the stones on the ground made a slight, rustling sound. This woman's name was Xia Liping. She visited many places in the cement stall, along the edge of the cement stall from north to south, and from west to east. There were